Time to do some revision. And today we're going to look at a paper one topic, and we're going to this very first topic, key concepts. And we're going to be covering some of that in this time. Now, key concepts is really vital because it sets a foundation for paper two as well, which is why you can be tested on some of the ideas in that paper too. Right, let's get cracking. So this is a summary of what I'm going to be covering. So there's no need to copy this down. You can simply save a copy or print it for your books. I want you just to sit back and really let this information soak into your brain. So here's an interesting word, eukaryote. Now, eu comes from the Latin true, and karyot means nucleus. So these are cells that have a true nucleus. So which ones don't have a true nucleus? They're the prokaryotes, called like bacteria. Now, who has a true nucleus? Animals, plants, fungi, and protists, the unicellular organisms. And we need to understand the structure of the cell and the organelles. Another important keyword, organelles, the parts of a cell. So here we go. We have an animal cell, and we can see in the animal cell, we have a cell membrane, and we have the nucleus. We have that jelly-like substance inside, the cytoplasm. Then this diagram is exaggerated because actually you wouldn't even be able to see with a light microscope the mitochondria because they are so small. But they've got this double membrane with the folds on the inside, and that is the powerhouse of the cell. We also have the ribosomes. The ribosomes is where proteins are made. Protein and ribosomes. You've got to put them together. Now, all of those structures are found in plant cells as well. So what makes a plant cell unique? Well, the first thing you'll notice is it has a cell wall for strength and support. We also have the chloroplasts in that part of the plant that is exposed to the sun. So we won't find them in a root. The chloroplasts contain chlorophyll for photosynthesis. And then we have this vacuole, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. So you need to identify those structures that are different to animal cells, and we need to know what their functions are, their jobs. Let's go and have a look at that. So the first thing is the nucleus. The nucleus contains the DNA. It is the control center of the cell. And it's found in every single cell except for red blood cells and platelets. Then we have that cell membrane. Now that cell membrane is partially permeable because it controls what moves in and out of the cell. That's important because we don't want large substances to move in. And then the cytoplasm, that jelly-like substance that is inside the cell. And that contains enzymes, which are biological catalysts, which speed up chemical reactions. This is where many chemical reactions take place. Okay. Then the mighty mitochondria. When you hear that word, always think respiration. Respiration is the chemical reaction that happens in the mitochondria that releases energy, never produces, because the exam board doesn't give you a mark then, releases energy. And here's the equation. Glucose from your Rice Krispies joins with oxygen that you've breathed in the mitochondria of a cell in your toe, and it produces carbon dioxide and water, and the chemical energy in the glucose is then released. The ribosome for protein synthesis. You've got to put those together. Lots of our body is made out of protein, our antibodies, so many different things, hormones, enzymes, our muscles. This is a really important function in our body. And then the cell wall. I always remember the two S's, strength and support, because remember, plants don't have an exoskeleton or an endoskeleton, and it's made out of cellulose, and that's why we can't digest when we eat plants, our body can't break it down because we can't break down cellulose. And then chloroplasts, the site of photosynthesis, and they contain that green pigment chlorophyll. Now notice this equation. It's the exact opposite of the respiration equation, but this time it takes in light energy rather than giving out energy. And notice the symbol for glucose, C6H12O6. And then there is the permanent vacuole I spoke about. Now, when you give your plant water, this permanent vacuole is full of cell sap, and the cell is then turgid. Now, if I don't water my plant for a while, it ends up, the leaves end up almost shrinking, and I give it water again, and it becomes turgid again. And that's all because of that permanent vacuole. Pushes out on the cell membrane, helping the cell and the plant. Now, you might want to pause here and just cover these up and see if you can memorize these. Absolutely vital that you can do so. Okay, now let's go and have a look at our prokaryote cells. So here we have a typical bacterial cell, and rather than a nucleus, a little bit like a golf ball with DNA inside it, this has just got the chromosomal DNA, that strand in the middle. It's also got a cell membrane, it's got a cell wall, and it's got these circular DNA that we call plasmids that are very important. Some bacteria might have a flagellum even to help them to move. Now you need to know some specialized cells. The sperm. Now notice the important labels I've included. The acrosome is the tip of the sperm that has enzymes that help to digest its way into the egg it gets to. The nucleus is haploid. That means it has half the number of chromosomes. It only has 23, because when the egg and the sperm join, 23 and 23 gets us back to the 46 chromosomes found in every other cell. We've got lots of mitochondria to release energy for that journey that sperm has to undergo in the middle part of the sperm. And then the tail is all to help it on that epic journey. The streamlined shape also helps it. And then we have the egg. Now the egg again has a haploid nucleus. It has mitochondria to release energy. And it also is one of the biggest cells in the body, and there's only a few made. The cytoplasm contains lots and lots of nutrients. That's important to remember, because when that egg is then fertilized, the embryo is going to use those nutrients for growth and development. Can you recognize any of these specialized cells? Well done. We've got the nerve cell, which carries messages long way around the body, electrical messages along the way. We got those cells with those microscopic hairs called ciliated cells that help to waft any mucus that's trapped dust out of our lungs, our gas exchange system. We've got that donut red blood cell. That's the only cell, apart from platelet, that doesn't have a nucleus. And the job of that is to carry oxygen. The hemoglobin molecule, the iron molecule on the red blood cell, carries oxygen around the body from the lungs. We've also got a root hair cell. Now these are cells they're microscopic cells on the outer side of a root, and that extension helps to increase the surface area for water to move into the cell by osmosis. You might have also noticed the xylem. So the xylem is found in plants, and I always remember WX, water is carried in the xylem, and then phloem carries the food that's made by photosynthesis around the body of the plant. And then we have white blood cells, part of our immune response. And they've got that very strange shaped nucleus, which is their identifiable feature. Okay. Now, in our next section, we are going to look at magnification. Move on to the second video for this.